start on the left-hand side of the combine. A couple common things that we have with issues with feeding. Okay, so we have issues where we have back feeding, whether we have a pickup table or whether we have a draper header. So a couple things that we want to look for. There's these 10 bolts on the left side and 10 bolts on the right side. I can make adjustments to this feeder faceplate to change the angle. Okay, so if I want to get more aggressive feeding, I simply loosen these off and I pivot the faceplate fully forward. Okay, when I pivot the faceplate fully forward, I expose more of the feeder drum into the header. So that would be something that I would do with a pickup header for enhanced feeding. Okay. Also, earlier on, maybe the guys from Acton pointed it out. I'm going to point it out on our pickup headers that we want to make sure that our finger timing, okay, our auger finger on the pickup header. And if we view it from the right-hand side, looking facing forward again, right-hand side, we've got an adjusting plate in there. Okay, we want to make sure that the fingers are fully retracted at the 8 o'clock position. Okay, if those fingers are extended past that point at the 8 o'clock position, what we're going to have is we're going to have guide wear and we're going to have back feeding problem because the material is not releasing off the finger. It's wanting to come around the drum and then spit it out the front, and then we may think that it's actually feeding, having poor feeding, actually in the rotor in the transition area, but it might be right here. So keep in mind this faceplate adjustment. It's not a fun adjustment to make, but it can improve your feeding capabilities. Another area that we sometimes overlook, front drum. Okay, so located in the front drum, there's a hole here that you look at. From factory, that hole is exposed, so it's wide open. I can see daylight through that hole. We tell you that in crop conditions, in fluffy crop conditions, we want to have the drum in the mid position. Okay, so I simply loosen off this nut on the left-hand side, and I loosen the nut off on the right-hand side, and I take and I turn this. When I turn that, half of that hole is going to be covered up. Okay, and that's going to be, my drum is going to be in the mid position at that point. Okay, so like I said, fluffy crops, peas, canola, that's where we're going to want to run that drum so it's aggressive, grabbing that material and pulling it into the machine and not causing back feeding. So for cereals, again, if you're having troubles in feeding cereals, okay, I'm not here to tell you how to change your farming practices. If running the drum in the mid position works for you, that's fine. If running it in the high position works for you, that's fine as well. But just giving you some tips on how you can improve the feeding so that if you are having troubles with feeding, that you may want to lower this drum down, fully down. Okay, so now my hole will be fully covered up from the inside. There's a plate on the inside, kind of like a can, and it just covers up the whole positions in there. So same things, I loosen off this nut, turn that drum so the drum comes down to the floor. Okay, a downside to that and why guys don't like to run that drum down past the upper position where it is from factory or the mid is you hear chain slap. Okay, it's not doing any harm to the machine. Okay, the chain slap is only going to be present when you've got no material in the machine. Okay, so when you make your headland turn, that's when you're going to hear it, but it's not going to do any damage. Okay, you're going to do more damage by not having a proper adjustment on the drum and causing back feeding and causing your slip clutches on to go off because of poor feeding. Okay, when we have poor feeding, that affects our thrashing capabilities as well. Okay, so we got to start at the front of the machine and then help ourselves thrash at the back. Okay, for connecting to headers, I recommend that you do a cold connection. So shut the machine off, connect the hydraulic block, connect the umbilical cord to the machine. If you do a hot connection, sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't. Sometimes you will get a header that won't recognize. It won't recognize from a pickup to a straight cut if you do a hot connection. And as well with the hydraulics, you do have the chances you can run the risk of actually blowing O-rings in here when you do a hot connection. Okay, so if you have the machine running and you connect it to the header, there is a possibility to cause damage to the O-rings in here or on the header side. So it can happen. Does it happen all the time? No. Maybe it's never happened to you. You're very lucky. Okay, just a recommendation. So feeder chain adjustment. If we hear the feeder chain starting to make noise, unusual noise, okay, we want to look for a couple of things in the feeder adjustment. There is a slot in here. That is kind of the end of travel. There's a bushing in here. As I tighten up this spring, okay, it moves the drum further ahead, okay, taking up some of that tension. If you notice inside this, if you made the adjustments to the feeder house, if you notice there's a spacer inside here, okay, so you cannot tighten that spacer, or you cannot compress this spring any greater than what the spacer is going to allow you. So you can crank and crank on this and think that you're going to collapse that spring, but because that spacer's in there, you're not going to collapse that spring. Okay. So if the chain won't move, you've got lots of adjustment in here. Make sure there's no debris in there. Sometimes you can get buildup or debris in there that doesn't allow the chain to go fully forward. And if it's far enough ahead that you can't get any more adjustment, then you're going to have to take a half link out of the feeder chain. For those of you guys that are running a model year 16 combine, or model year 17 combine, so model year 16 combine after January 31st, or model year 17 combine, there is a grease decal on the top of the feeder house. Okay, that grease decal in there is for you to grease every 100 hours. Okay, so prior to model year 16, before January, there was you have to take that plate off. There was 2 grease zerks in there that actually greased the slip clutch inside there. Okay, those grease zerks do not grease that slip clutch no longer. They now grease the splines on the feeder gearbox and the top shaft. Okay, so every 100 hours, if you have that sticker on top, every 100 hours, take that plate off and be liberal with the amount of grease that you put in there. Okay, it's going to cut down on the spline wear from factory. Prior to model years 16, 17, from factory, we would pre-lube the hole in the top feeder shaft. Okay, and then we put a washer with the synthetic horseshares on it, and then that would be filled in that cavity. Okay, due to the fact that we have reversing some wads, sometimes that top shaft is going to move in there, and it's going to push that grease out of there. So we have no way of getting grease back into that cavity. So if you don't have that grease zerk on here, I'd recommend getting some threaded rod, putting threaded rod in place of where the bolts that hold the gearbox off. Hold the gearbox back far enough so that you can get grease into those splines in there. Okay, that's going to prevent the wear that's in there. Okay, for model year 16 after January 31st, model year 17 combines. If you have to make any adjustments or maintenance to the top feeder shaft, be aware that there's shims located in behind the bolts on here. Okay, not all the combines have it. What we started making the alignment to the top feeder gearbox late in model year 16 and into 17. So there is a chance, or there is a possibility that you may have shims in there. So just an awareness that if you're pulling the top feeder gearbox off, to make sure that you put those shims back in the proper position. Okay? Any questions? Okay? Slip clutch, like I said, if you hear a ratcheting slip clutch go off, that's going to be the one on the shaft. Okay? So that's the one that's welded to the shaft. That's going to be inside, that's the ratcheting one. If you hear a squeal or squealing, that's the fiber discs on the outside of there. Okay? The one on the outside can be adjusted. Okay? The one on the inside cannot. Okay? Okay, so we'll talk a little bit about concaves as well. So we go through a procedure, and we want to make sure that our concaves at the start of the year, whether you have a new combine to you, a brand new combine, we want to make sure that they're properly calibrated. Okay, so easiest way to do it is to remove one of the modules, pull out one of the modules, physically bring the threshing cage modules up to 10 millimeters. Okay? At that point, at the bottom dead center, so at 6 o'clock position, that's going to be my highest point. I want to make sure that I am 10 millimeters. Okay? Once I'm at 10 millimeters, I can go into the calibration screen, and I can hit yes, I'm at 10 millimeters, calibrate it. Once I got that calibrated, I want to bring my concaves or my frame all the way up. Okay? So just to the point where maybe I'm ticking. Okay? And that's going to be 0. So how I would get there is by these bolts right here. Those are my stop bolts. Okay? So I would make my adjustment so that if I'm too high up, okay, I would want to lengthen these bolts so I can't come high enough to cause any major damage. Okay, so if I hear a ticking, I just want to back off the concave motor a little bit. Come here and set these stop bolts. That'll limit the travel of the threshing modules. The other thing I want to make reference to, we talked about the De-slug Mode. So if I did have a situation where I did plug the machine, okay, I want to kind of know before I start the year where the parallel is between my threshing modules and my separating rates. Because my threshing module can move, it's adjustable. My separating modules, they're fixed. Okay? So if I plug, I want to know at what point that my threshing module is parallel with my separating grade. Okay? Why is that important? Exactly. So if I don't know at what point that it's parallel, if I go too far down with my threshing module, I've now created a wall or a step. So now I've got to move that material against the wall and try and get it up over. Okay? So kind of important or a good practice to know exactly when you're doing concave calibration. It's easy to know exactly what number that is. And like I said, it's in measurements of millimeters. So now you know that at 48 millimeters, that's where my parallel is going to be. Don't go past that point in De-slug. So, De-slug. We talked a little bit on the video about De-slug. Okay, I'll get into a situation where I have to use my De-slug. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to try and try to move that pile, right? I'm not going to make any adjustments. I'm just going to shut my rotor off, enter De-slug mode, so back and forward, and then I'm going to use my rotor increase, the rotor motor speed, so that I start getting a negative rotor speed. Okay? Once I get a negative rotor speed, okay, then I want to switch directions, okay, utilizing the CVT, switch directions and we want to move that slug out the back side of the combine. If I get too much negative rotor speed and I'm turning the rotor backwards too much, the pile or the rod that's in there is going to drop into the transition cone. Okay? Once it drops into the transition cone, I can't get that wad out of there. I'm going to have to go through the feeder house, and I'm going to have to try and pull that wad out of there. So just start to get negative rotor motor speed, and then switch directions on the rotor RPM to get positive rotor motor speed, and then move that slug out. So in de-slug, do we want to be at full RPM when they're de-slugging? Yes. Okay. Throttle wide open when we're de-slugging. Okay. Any questions? Any questions on de-slug? Okay. Talk a little bit about hard thresh modules. So in the video, we noticed how the crop flow was coming. So hard thresh module, I recommend just getting one set of hard thresh modules, putting the hard thresh module in position 1 on the left-hand side and position 2 on the right-hand side. So from the video, the crop flow, you've seen that the crop flow is coming. It's getting almost full engagement on number 1 and full engagement on number 2 for threshing. Number 1, it's just getting about a third of the concave that's threshing in there. So more crucial to put up number 1 on the left-hand side, number 2 on the right-hand side. As well, with the hard thresh kit, you're going to get a cover plate that's going to cover those holes on the front side of the separating area. Put that plate in. You can leave that plate in. You don't have to ever take it out again unless you're going to be doing corn. Okay, that's the only time you want to take it out for added separation in there. Otherwise, you can leave it in. Okay. As far as the cover plates or the filler plates that you get with the hard surface or hard thresh modules, I recommend the only time you want to use those is in flax. Okay. So we want to thrash green on grain as much as possible. If we have the cover plates in, we have that much more risk of cracking, okay, causing damage. So if you don't have the ink cab counterbank knives, you're going to have this lever in the back there, and that's how you're going to make your adjustments to, right now I would be fully engaged, my counterbank knives would be fully engaged into the machine, okay, as I move that handle up, okay, I would be less engaged, and if I go right to the top, I'd be fully disengaged, okay. A lot of times I'll come out various times, riders guys, I find sometimes this handle is tie strapped because it's moving on guys. Okay, there's 2 bolts, one on the bottom, one on the top. Loosen those up and move that plate out to the outside of the combine. Okay, that'll prevent having you tying that handle out, because at times it can, maybe it's not properly aligned and set up, and that handle will actually bounce out, and your stationary knives will be fully disengaged on there. Okay, rotor shift. Okay, so like I said, if we're de-slugging, this is the last thing that I want to try to move when I'm de-slugging. It's not a very easy adjustment to make when you're de-slugging. So same thing. If you really can't get the wad to move, the best thing to do is shut the machine off before you get to the de-slug. Shut the machine off, come back, and try and get that rotor shifted to first gear. A lot of times, because there's the material in there, you can't get the rotor to turn. It's loaded up. Sometimes all you have to do is get a bar in between the separating grates here, and just move it a little bit while you wiggle the handle there, and a lot of times you can get it to pop into second gear, back to neutral, back to first. Okay. A couple of years ago, 15, we introduced a new chopper bearing and went to a heavy chopper bearing. Okay, proven to be very successful for us. Chopper bearing failures have basically gone away. At the clinics that I do, I rarely get beat up about chopper bearings anymore. Okay, so we're seeing the chopper bearing failures go down. But again, just want just want to bring back your attention on the chopper bearing procedure for greasing. It's 100 hours, okay? 2 to 3 pumps, that's all we want to see, okay? No more than 2 to 3 pumps of grease, okay? If I don't know where my chopper bearing is filled at, from factory, we want you to have 70% fill on your chopper bearing, okay? At the start of the season, if you got a new combine to you, if you're getting a new combine from the dealership, basically what we want to do is grease that bearing until the grease comes out of the seal, okay? And how many chopper bearings are on this combine? 3 chopper bearings, right? We've got 1 on the left-hand side and 2 on the right-hand side, okay? So we want to grease those chopper bearings just so that the grease starts to come out of the seal. And then I want to start the combine up with the Thresh engaged at full RPM, running for a half an hour, okay? At that point, the grease is going to dissipate out of there. It's not going to overheat itself because there's no load, there's no material coming through the machine. And it's gonna find its 75% fill, and then from that point on, it's 100-hour grease interval, and again, that 1 to 3 shots. Okay. Any questions on chopper bearings? Okay. High speed, low speed shift. Okay. So little handle here, little lever. Okay. Shifting to low. And then back up into high speed. So easy to shift the chopper from high to low. Most times you're going to be running in the high position. Okay. Boosting points back here. Okay. Got the negative and the positive. That's our areas that we want you to boost from. All right. So we'll move around to the back. Just want to bring your attention to the rear axle here. So there's a dust cap on the back of the rear axle there. So good idea, pop that dust cap off, have a look in there, make sure that cotter pin is not starting to shear. Okay. If you see that it's starting to shear, pull it off, clean it up, put some Loctite on the nut, and put the nut back on and reset the cotter pin in there, put the dust cap back on. Okay. Just something to be aware of. Okay, next we're going to go through sieves. Okay, so we talked a little bit about sieve calibration. So I've got the availability to adjust sieves remotely from the back of the combine up and down. Okay, so this is where it would be easy. I can do the calibration for the upper and lower sieve. So I can come back here, I can open the sieves all the way up, then I can close the sieves down, okay? And that's going to close, so if I got that handy dandy little gauge, okay, I'm going to close the sieves down. Okay, what do we recommend that we calibrate the sieves at? 6 millimeters, okay? So I want to close the sieves down to 6 millimeters, okay? Have my gauge in there, set it. Okay, so I now know that everything is good there because I opened it all the way up. Okay, took all the free play out and then came down and set them at my 6 millimeters. The bottom sieves, okay, same thing at the bottom sieves. I have to open up this door. There's a door, there's a latch on the left side, latch on the right hand side. Open up that door, access the lower sieves, and I want to do the same procedure. Okay, set them to 6, go back into the Pro 700 and the calibration screen, and just acknowledge the fact that they're both upper and lower are set to 6 millimeters. Okay, pretty straightforward. Any questions on sieves? Okay, Another common complaint that we get sometimes is in canola. We get siphoning of canola off the chaffer pan into the spreaders. So we can do 1 or 2 things. I can slow the spreader speed down. Okay. Sometimes if I slow the spreader speed down, I don't get adequate spread quality. Okay, not so bad in canola, but if I run too high of RPM on my spreaders, I'll find that I get siphoning. The easiest way, if you don't know whether or not you got sieve loss and rotor loss, as your combine, open up that back cover and straw. Okay, then you'll know exactly if you've got rotor loss. If you've got rotor loss, it's going to come right out the back end. Okay, if you got rotor loss and you got this cover going down, the material's going to come off the chopper. It's going to hit the back of that straw, and it's going to go right down onto the sieve sensor. And it's going to alert you that you've got sieve loss. And you're going to chase it and chase it and chase it. So, if you've got high sieve loss and you've made all the proper adjustments, just open this door up. Okay? Open that door up and make sure that it is actual sieve loss and not rotor loss. 9 times out of 10, it's rotor loss. Okay, either too high rotor speed, you're just corkscrewing that material out the back end. Okay, so we're going to open up the back end. Okay, so this is the residue system. Incorporated into 16. So you have the option of having the mechanical cranks. Okay, so if I've got conditions of wind, okay, so if I'm fighting a crosswind, okay, I get a crosswind coming from the left. Okay, I would position this one in as tight as I can. Okay, I would probably take the bottom one, and then I would crank it up. And I would get the bottom one up, so I've got as tight clearance here, so I'm actually throwing the material out further. Okay, and then the right-hand side, I would open it up a little bit to ensure that I'm not throwing out the material to uncut. Okay, if I have the actuators on the back, then I can do that from in the cab. Have my set points, left, right, change that, and then they'll go every time I come to the end and come back. So we did take away the actuators on the 3-sided chutes when we went to this new system. So for 16, 17, and 18, they'll have no option to have actuators for the 3-sided chutes. On the sieve area here, it's kind of might be challenging to see these areas in here that have these little side sheets. Those are going to be, from all your 18, those are going to be discontinued. So that's going to open up our sieve area, pre-sieve, upper sieve and lower sieve, giving us 3% more sieve area. Okay, pre-sieve setting. Okay, as indicated, I said pre-sieves, not set from in the cab. They're set from outside the cab. So, I don't care what you do, how you do it. Right now, notch 1 is fully closed. So if you want to have notch 3, okay, as an 1/8 of an inch, so you would set it, that would be notch 1, notch 2, notch 3, okay. Take the door off on the right-hand side, go into the pre-sieve, go in there with your sieve gauge, see if it's set to 1/4 of an inch or 3.5 millimeters or whatever that correlates to. Set that up to that 1/8 of an inch or 3.5 millimeters, and take and either loosen off the jam bolt on this rod, or make the adjustment back here so it's actually at 1/8 of an inch, so that you know that you can just basically come down, put it in notch 3. Notch 3 is 1/8 of an inch, and that's going to be your starting point for your pre-sieve. And depending on the different crops you harvest, beans, if you get into beans, peas, then you might want to open up them so it's the size of the kernel. But wheat, canola, you're safe at 1/8 of an inch. On the combine, we have all of our fuses are located in the cab of the combine, or do we have any externally on the combine? Okay, I can't see or hear your responses, but we have one fuse located on the outside of the combine, and that is for the moisture. Okay, so on the right-hand side, on the inside of the clean green elevator, there's an automotive style fuse that's located in there. So if you find that you're not getting a moisture readout, that your moisture readout is staying constant, that's a good place to start and check, see if that fuse is blown. Okay, if that fuse is popped, pull the fuse out, pull the auger out from the back side, clean all the material out of there, put a new fuse in, and away you go. That sample auger will turn until the material comes up to a switch inside. So there's a proximity switch. So as the material comes up there, once the grain fills up to that point, it'll tell that auger to turn out, and then a new sample will take place. So it all depends on the yield, or on how many bushels per acre that you're putting into how fast that machine is sampling. So with that, if you're doing peas, any wet material, a lot of times at the end of the day when you're done, you shut the combine off. That sampling motor will turn for about 3 to 5 seconds to clean all that material in there. So don't just shut the combine off and then go turn the key out, the master key on the other side, or you'll have material that's in there. And when you start up the next day, chances are if that grain is wet, you'll probably pop that fuse again. Okay? So another issue, another point of contention sometimes is if we're doing peas and we run into a situation that deflector inside the combine that's coming from the tri-seed processor, that'll sometimes plug up with kochia or weeds and stuff. So guys don't like getting in there and cleaning it out. Some guys will take that cover off. Okay, you can do that. You can take that deflector off. It's okay. Just remember to put it back on. But it is a real pain to put that deflector back on. Okay. So what I recommend doing is in peas, you're not returning anything in peas or lentils, and if you are, you probably need to look at some of your settings. The bottom cross auger for the returns, okay, just pull that cross auger right off that tray right off the bottom of the cross auger, and then let all that green stuff go onto the ground, and then spread it over the 62 inches. Okay. Some guys will just remove the tailings cover. It's only 5 inches wide or 6 inches wide, but then you have a strip in the field that wide. So if you take the bottom one off, then you're going to be over 62 inches on there. Okay. The last thing I want to point out is from this side, the rotor discharge handle. Okay, so this is the rotor discharge handle right there. So that's the rotor discharge handle. This is the deflector plate for the rotor discharge. Okay, so this is going to be right now. That plate is going to be out. Okay, so it's going to be fully out on there. With that, that concludes the Combine Clinic for 2017. Thank you.